Okay, we're going to move on to solving some quite complicated linear inequalities, sometimes called inequations. You should have solved some inequalities before, and you'll have met these symbols, the greater than, the less than symbol. We've got greater than or equal to, and then less than or equal to. So these inequalities, they won't have an equal sign in them, but they'll have one of these instead. Now what you'll see is that as we start to solve some of these, there are occasions where these inequality signs change direction, they flip around, and it can be quite confusing to know when to do that and when not to do that. So I thought we'd look at this little number line here in the hopes that that'll make some sort of sense. Now if you look at this number line I've created, we've got 0 here, and then a little bit greater than 0 we find x, and then again further up the number line we find 5. So I think that it's fair for us to say that x here is less than 5. So I'm just going to write that in here using the less than sign. X is less than 5, and that is true. Now, if we take our x value and reflect it across over 0 here, and then bring it back down to the other side, it's the same distance away from 0, but it's now become negative x. Same distance away, only now negative x. We'll do the same with the 5 and reflect it away over here, so that it's the same distance away from our 0, but it is now of course a negative 5. And then if you have a little look at what we've got here, then what we can now say is that well, we can say a few things, but negative 5 is definitely less than negative x. But we could also read this in another way, and since the negative x is closer to 0 than the negative 5 is, we would say that negative x is in fact greater than negative 5. So I can fit this in here. Negative x is actually greater than negative 5. So the number line has shown us that if you reflect these values across the origin, you get slightly different statements, but these are all true. And these are the two that we want to look at here, because what's happened here is that we could have been perhaps solving an equation and got down to this line, this negative x is greater than negative 5, and you can see that on the next line, when we've actually got x now on its own, not negative x but x, then the inequality sign has changed direction. So both of these statements are true, and this is the sort of statement we want to aim for with an x term on its own, not negative x. So what's happened here to allow us to solve this is one of two things. Either you can say that you've divided this whole inequality by a negative, so dividing by a negative, in this case we just divided by -1, but we could have had any number in here. Or the other way to have solved this is multiplying by a negative, and whenever you do that, if you're solving an inequality and you divide by a negative value, or you multiply by a negative as well, then the inequality sign will change direction.